We're about to be able to tell our loved ones that 10 years of Dokkan Battle have officially come and gone, and it's got me feeling nostalgic for a time that, if I'm honest, I didn't even really participate in. One of the all-time debates I've seen raging in the community since joining pertains to the animation quality, especially in 2023, where many stated that the series had declined. But is that true? Dokkan Battle is about to open the floodgates to 2022's cast of EZA candidates, so it's time to take a look at every single major release we can expect to find out who's got the best animations in Dokkan Battle. I'll be following them in order of Misaka K1 on Twitter's EZA list, and be sure to tell me who has your favorite animation set in Dokkan Battle. Reminder, this has nothing to do with character strength, so let's get into it.
1対1にこだわってる場合じゃないだろう。行くぞベジータ。クソったれが。これがスーパーサイヤ人ゴッドを超えたパワーだ。かかってこい、遊んでやる。一丁行くぜ。
If you ever need to sell a friend on Dokkan Battle, if you ever need to get someone into Dokkan Battle, I think the LR Gods and the LR Super Saiyan 4 duo are some of the best sales pitching you can do for the game. It is the game working at its best from the intro, which is super stylish, you know, referencing that now sort of iconic Goku bounce and stretch, that moment that Goku shares in the Super Broly movie that sort of reminds us that Dragon Ball Super can still acknowledge Goku as the character that he is, this respected and sort of carefree martial artist, rather than being the power scaler the community seems to see him as. If there's one gripe I share, it's that the Super Saiyan God transformation for Vegeta is sort of underwhelming. I would say that his transformation in the movie is great. It might be one of the single best Super Saiyan transformations in the entire franchise, and it's the reason that they used it and they reference it in Sparking Zero is it's just so cold, man. His flash from green to yellow to, you know, blue to red, you know, just this myriad of colors that really works in the visual style of Dragon Ball Super Broly. It was the first time for me as someone watching Super where I was like, okay, these guys got it right. The art director, the people behind it, the money behind it, they finally got Dragon Ball right. And that's not even getting into these super attacks, which I think are all phenomenal. All four are amazing. If you saw these units on release, it must have been a staggering moment for you, because the game probably hadn't looked this good until they released. and that is something that 2022 has in spades, where as we go through this list, it's just going to be me flattering these units, because I have used a lot of them. They're not EZ8, obviously. I used them when they were past their prime, past their use cases, and I still would bring them out just because they looked so great. The thing that really stands out to me, and you see it a lot in 2024's animation, and you see it a lot less in 2023 Dokkan's animation, is the flexibility of the camera when Vegeta flies in and he's Super Saiyan Blue, and it feels like you can see his leg bending and contorting in that way that the shonen genre is so used to, where it sort of defies anatomy. It just looks great, man. It looks dramatic, and it looks specialized, and it looks just like a great callback to the series. I love it. I love everything about it. The only other negative I would give this unit is that the Gogeta Blue transformation is a bit hurried. It's obviously an active attack animation rather than an active transformation, so they put a lot less time into just making it this solitary thing. They had to, rush out the attack pretty snappy, and for that reason it does work. I think the Ki Blast effects look great, but if there's one downside, is that him folding into himself and the camera kind of being positioned under him a little bit, it just doesn't work. That said, this one's obvious. It's going in goated. It's an amazing anniversary unit. Let's get to the next one.
待たせたな、カカロット。いけるぜ、ベジータ。フュージョンするぞ、カカロット。フュージョンしてっておめえの口から聞けるなんてよ。最高だぜ、ベジータ。フュージョン。俺は孫悟空でもベジータでもない。俺は貴様を倒すものだ。さてと、いよいよこの俺の必殺技を見せてやるか。これであの世へ送ってやる。ウルトラビッグバンカメハメハ。
The LR4s, the probably most anticipated unit of the coming year, and the flagship for what I think Dokkan can achieve when it really locks the fuck in. There's a common saying in Dragon Ball where it's said that the Big Bang Kamehameha is essentially carried by the video games, and this is no exception. The Big Bang Kamehameha looks gorgeous here, stunning. Every animation that Gogeta has is, I would say, one of the best in the entire of Dokkan Battle. This character has so many great little tidbits packed into it, from the counter to the way the camera shifts up on his face and it holds in frame completely, just dominating the visual. If there's one thing they get right with Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. It's just this sense of scale, this sense of overarching magnitude. He feels so powerful, and it's hopefully going to be something we feel in actuality once he EZAs. But there are few units in Dokkan who I think capture strength in their animation rather than just in their gameplay. That said, I would say the pre-transformed version of this lacks in its super animations, whereas the LR Super Saiyan gods excel across the board. But man, how could you take that away from the 4s, right? Like, it's not that they're bad animations, it's just that once that Gogeta animation fires and it's one of the best looking in the game, and then he does his 12 key, and then he does his 18 key, and they're two of the best animations in the game, and then he does his active, and it's one of the best animations, you know what I mean? It's just, fantastic. This is going goated. Pretty easy to predict. Nice.
落ちこぼれだって必死で努力すりゃエリートを超えることがあるかもよ。元気だまたそいつをやつにぶつけてくれ。ドラえだ跳ね消せご飯。悪の気がないもんなら跳ね消せるはずだ。
I could easily see this being a contentious one, but what the LR Kaioken Goku seems to lack is a bit of vision, a bit of purpose. There are great shots in a vacuum, and I think the art direction and the shift in Goku's design to match with the older style of Toriyama, it looks amazing. The only issue I really have with it is that the 12 key feels like it lacks a bit of fight choreography. Some of the motions, while they fit for the context of a gacha where, you know, the opponent's not really attacking back, the best part about Kaioken for me is when Goku is basically outpacing his opponents so overtly that you could see them sort of bend and react to the fact that he was just so much faster, so much stronger than them. In this case, it's kind of your basic run-of-the-mill Kaioken attack, kind of like the free-to-play LR Fizz Goku unit from the Saiyan Saga. And that's fine, right? But the thing about that attack is that it's voiced, it's an active. The thing about this one is it doesn't really capture speed and force like Gogeta's, the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's from the previous segments. When he uses his 18 key and he's zipping around the screen, it's 2x speed. It just looks so great, it looks so overpowering. And I don't really get that from this 12 key. The 18 key, however, looks amazing. I'm going to dock a point again, just because I think this is the style of attack that needs voice acting. You see him do the times, you know, the roar, but because it's not voiced, obviously, because it's not an active skill, it just lacks that absolute punch that the real thing does. However, the way the beam is animated, I love when beams in Dragon Ball are sort of malleable. They feel almost gelatinous. They brace themselves against their opposing figure and splinter off, as well as the active skill itself with the sort of spider web of energy that the Spirit Bomb in this form forms, essentially. It just looks great. It looks amazing. One of those units where I love every animation in a vacuum, but when I put it all together and I really think about it, I step back, I'm like, this isn't really up to the LR God standard, but it is really good. I'm gonna put it in great.
では努力だけではどうやっても越えられぬ壁を見せてやろう。 むろえんはじけて混ざれどうだこれで貴様はもう終わりだ
LR Ape Vegeta is another could have been unit. I think there are some great pieces here. His introduction to me is arguably better than Goku's, which was his paired unit. I think that it captures that old style, that style of Vegeta I'd like to call Gremlin Vegeta, where he's much smaller, he's much more, I don't know, there's just something about him. He's a little more rabid looking, you know, it looks great. And it helps because it, you know, it coincides with that petulant nature of his. As he grows older, he becomes a little more mature looking, he is a little more dignified. When he's the prince of all Saiyans and he's bratty and he's yelling at people, it just matches up. You know, walk with me. The 12 key is nothing really special. I don't think a lot of the key blast animations look great when they land. They look okay. The 18 key for his base form is great. I love again, that weaving web-like explosion of energy off of him. Those electric impact frames that come with Dragon Ball look so good. But as a package, as he goes into the Great Ape, which does look fine, he gets that shot of his fangs, you know, as he's turning into Zaru, looks great. But that 18 key is so bad in the Great Ape form. It's not great. It doesn't have any of the oomph. It doesn't have any choreography. It just doesn't look great. The beam looks bad. The model doesn't look great. Very underwhelming. The 12 key looks fine, but yeah, for that reason, it's just pretty good. It's fine.
気に入ったぞ貴様のその強い体をチェンジ交換させてもらったぜ貴様と俺の体を
Ginyu is a character I won't spend too much time on just because he has relatively quick animations. He's a character that, I guess for the time, probably attacked a lot, you know, quote unquote a lot. And because of that, he has those snappy TUR animations. If you like the current Buhan super attack animations, you probably like this Ginyu's. They're very quick, snappy, explosive, without much setup. I think the camera angle, I think his untransformed animation is much stronger than his in Goku's body animation, and I think that's just because some of the anatomy is weird. I don't hang on anatomy like a lot of people do with Dragon Ball. I don't think that's a part of the charm of Dragon Ball. I think the anatomy being a little weird and wacky and cartoony is just a part of Toriyama's style a lot of the time. It's not something to run away from. It's not something that you have to confront negatively. It just is a part of his style. If you don't like it, that's fine too, but it is what it is. That said, the way Dokkan captured it in this case just doesn't work for me. Ginyu kind of feels like he's not even interfacing with the ground. It's like they drew Namek for his barrage during his transform state, but he's not even there. His running looks a little weird. His motoring looks a little weird. It just doesn't work. That said, I think because the animations for his active and because the animation for his 12 key in his base form are so strong, I'm going to put this in pretty good, but just barely.
トランクス、お前は赤ん坊の頃から一度も抱いてやったことがなかったな。抱かせてくれ。
なんだよパパ、やめてよ。
恥ずかしいよ。
元気でなトランクス。貴様の片付け方が分かったぞ。やっとな。貴様を倒すには二度と修復できないよう粉々に吹っ飛ばすことだ。さらばだ、ブルマ、トランクス、そしてカカロット。
TUR Int Majin Vegeta is a unit that I pulled a lot when I first started Dokkan about a year ago, well over a year ago, and it looks as good as it did in 2022 as it does in 2024 and as it will in 2025. The intro is amazing. The active skill, the final explosion, looks phenomenal. It's one of those animations that probably won't be outdone until they finally release a proper big anniversary or worldwide download celebration level LR for the unit. I think another great facet of this one in particular is just the voice acting, the music, the OST as it builds and blooms around that voice acting. It's just a interpretation of the moment that really works, and I wouldn't really change anything about it. It might be the one and only TUR I'm gonna place on Goated. I think it's amazing. I think it's the peak of what a TUR can achieve in Dokkan. I think it sits right at the table with other great foundational TUR animations. It's going in Goated.
その程度か。今度は俺の番かな。では技の見本を見せてやろう。貴様
TUR Raditz, the meme himself, Chaditz, is such a funny unit because I know people don't like Raditz, obviously. He's not the most popular character in Dragon Ball. But as far as faithful and pretty hype recountings animation-wise for a Dokkan unit, I would argue that this is pretty great. If you are a Raditz fan, if you're Dota Doya, you watching this, if you're here for Raditz, you probably fucks with this animation because they make him look great. The camera swoop, the wind, the back, I don't want to say back shot, but you know what I mean. He then, like, you know, he goes horizontal, which is that kick he does to Goku and Piccolo as they approach him, I think. It's been so long. The key effects look great. The key effects here literally look better than the LR Vegeta I talked about earlier, right? Like, I love whenever Dragon Ball uses that blooming, again, gelatinous, very, I don't know, it almost feels like this cotton candy rippling molten lava effect on its key clouds. This shit looks great, man. And they come through here, even down to the active skill, which has great voice acting. I don't know, Raditz animation wise holds up, I think. I wasn't there for when he released. I know people hate his kit because he's not very good, and he wasn't very good. He's one of the worst characters ever released in Dokkan, but I feel like I said, if you're a collector, if you're a Raditz fan, this is pretty cool. Yeah, pretty good. And now we sort of arrive at where my expectations meet my bias and why that can turn into disappointment, because the LR, Goku, and Piccolo unit just don't reach the highs I think this unit could. I would argue that because of what it is and the moment it encapsulates, and the first time we see that special beam cannon and, you know, Goku's sacrifice, even though the active skill is strong visually, and I think they do sell the impact frame, not the actual impact frames, but the frame of impact where it collides and then pierces them and Goku falls off with that, you know, centering splotch in the middle. Looks pretty good. Unfortunately though, I would go as far as to say that every other animation in this group, you know, all four, especially the Piccolo side by himself, which has some reused animations, they are weak. You know, I'm paying for this unit. You know, you're paying for this unit, essentially, you know, free to play and low spending, all that stuff. But you're paying for a premium, you're paying in your stones to get this unit, and to have so many of the animations feel ripped and, you know, tired versus, you know, compare that to the Piccolo from the Namek Saga that we got alongside the Gohan earlier this year, and you're like, wow, these look amazing. These are some of the best Piccolo animations. These might be the best Piccolo animations in the game. You come back to this one and you're like, yes, this doesn't hit. I'm actually gonna say this might be the only LR in pass. I just don't care for it. I hope this unit gets redone. Nah.
おめえの強さよーくわかった。ほらもうやめとくわ。おめえの出番だぞ。ワン。入るな。わかりました。やってみます。
Yeah, remember when I said that TURs probably don't get that much better than Int Majin Vegeta, and that it might be the only TUR in the goated list for this year? I take that back, actually. Strength Goku that swaps with Gohan really surprised me upon watching it again, because this unit can't really survive in events. I forgot that the counter in the Gohan state is one of the coldest counters in the entire game. That shit is so clean. The way the beam fucking just plows through Cell's Kamehameha and is sort of wrapped, coated in that blast until it finally rebuffs it. That, oh my god, dude, don't get me started. Don't get me started. I'm gonna start hating on Super again if I do this. Yeah, I don't have much to say about this. The exchange is super sweet. Him placing his hand on Gohan's back. Goku just looks so fatherly, and yeah, I don't know. It's amazing, amazing quality. I think if your friends are fans of Cell Saga and they see Goku's instant transmission Kamehameha there, it looks great. Yeah, goated.
パワーが完全に負けている。
TUR AGL Cell, who is the accompanying unit for this Dokkan Fest, is great in chunks. I think, I'm just going to spoil the reveal, this character is going in pretty good, because I think the culmination of everything keeps it from falling lower, and there are a lot of animations packed into this bundle. The rage mode, not the rage mode, but the buff cell mode, his animation isn't great. The first form cell mode is just okay, especially for a character whose animations are just outdone and better in the LR Prime battle cell, funnily enough. The second form cell is again okay, good to okay, and the perfect cell has that great shot of him blasting Gohan through the cliff face that looks great. I think the issue is that all of the budget for this character went into the transformations themselves outside of the buff cell form, and those look amazing. So you can't really complain there, but yeah, I would have loved for some of it to be saved for other units rather than cashing in on a TUR, because TURs typically aren't matching the super high levels that LRs reach. So yeah, just pretty good. LR, Goku, and Gohan, the original What If unit for Dokkan Battle, is generational in its active skill. I'm going to be putting it in Great, not Goated. The reason is because the 12 and 18 key are just serviceable. A lot of people give flack to Dokkan for using these What If and original animations. They say they don't look as good as the rips from the show, you know, yada yada yada. You can't really compare this to the Vegeta that came out though, who has just better choreography. The thing this What If unit lacks the most is just a sense of pacing, a sense of anatomy. The kick Goku does for his 12 key looks terrible, there's no follow through. It's really stilted. That said, all of the budget clearly went into the actual active skill, because Goku's lips moving has more depth than anything in the actual 12 and 18 key supers, which is really funny. It's saved completely by this active skill, which is one of the best active skills in the game, I think. Amazing stuff. Goated. Or not goated, great. The active skill's goated, but the unit's just great.
いい加減にしやがれ。交代で戦うって決めたはずだ。
ち、分かったよ。
俺様はあいつみたいに甘くはないぞ。覚悟しやがれ。
The ROF Blues don't need much discussion, they need no introduction when it comes to sort of the more middling examples of Dokkan's interpretations or reimaginings of moments from the series. The ROF Blues stand as the peak of underwhelming super implementation. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's not like ROF was the most amazing thing in the world, you know, there's a lot of hiccups with it. But I feel like there was a chance to make this moment look great, and they kind of fumbled it. I do like the intro with Goku. I do like the exchange with Vegeta. I do like Vegeta's 12 key itself, but only to a maximum of like a 6 or 7 out of 10 in each area. It's just okay. I'm gonna put it pretty good.
それではお見せしましょう。私の新たなる進化を。わかりやすく金色にしてみましたが、肝心すぎましたかね。安っぽいネーミングですが、ゴールデンフリーザとでも言いましょうか。この地球を破壊してやる。
LR Golden Frieza looks awesome. The intro's great. He's a yapper. He yaps for a while. I think they use a lot of stagnant shots with Frieza, a lot of stagnant models moving around in the space surrounded by energy, but I don't really mind it. I don't think it inhibits how good this LR, this unit can be. I do think it leaves the door open for another reimagining of it though, because it's not as smooth, it's not as dynamic as the LR Namek Frieza, the full power Frieza, who I think has Frieza's best animations, period, in Dokkan, as well as the Earthbreaker being a little meh. You know, you see this character redone in Legends with the Ultra, and that is just a much cleaner version of several key movements that Frieza does, especially the Earthbreaker being especially very cool in it. I think we'll see this character again, but I think for now, as a first time, this looks great. I would say this is great.
トランクス、この先を見ろ。まだ見ぬ敵を、宇宙最強。お前が誇り高きサイヤ人の血を引く者ならば、俺の息子ならば、誰にも負けることは許さん。俺、超えてみせます。目の前の敵も、トンさんも。俺は諦めない。絶対に。この通りだ、トランクス。 俺の力よ、この世界の人間の盾になれ。みんなの願いをこの一撃に込める。サイヤ人、人間の底力を侮るなよ。食らえギャリックホー。トランクス、やったな。はい。
I'm not gonna bother wasting our time here. LR Vegeta and Trunks have all-time Dokkan animations. They have LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta animations. They will not be able to remake this character. They exist as they are until they're EZA'd. There's never a reason to revisit this moment. They nailed this. If they did go back to this, they'd have to use animations that are completely different. They'd have to use Vegeta into like a Spirit Bomb sword, or so, like a Goku and Vegeta into a Spirit Bomb sword or something. They can't go back to this moment the way it is. The twirling, the movement, the Ki Blasts look great, the auras look great, the active looks great, the intro looks great, the outro screen looks great. It's done. It's done. You don't need to hear it. Goated. It's goated.
我が姿は正義、我が姿は世界。あがめよ、たたえよ。この気高くも美しい、不死にして最強の神ザマスを。大地を貫き全てを洗い流そう。神の世の到来を祝う宴の始まりだ。絶対の雷。
This is another one of those examples where I'm not going to say much about it. Zamasu has some of the best animations in all of Dokkan Battle, period. You don't ever remake this unit. I think even the black sky behind him, like they do with a lot of the older Dokkan active skills, I think it looks good with his vibe, his theme, his aura. Yeah, don't ever remake this unit. He's perfect. He looks amazing. Can't wait for this EZA. This was arguably the character who is coming up on an EZA that was the reason I made this. Goated. TUR Pan is a character saved by her active skill and her combination attack with Goku. I think they could have saved budget here and just made the attacks only link with Goku's, and they could have put those resources elsewhere. The active skill itself is great. The OG Sambit, hearing her, hype herself up with her grandpa. I mean, that's cute. I'm not gonna hate on that, but yeah, the sequencing to get into the attacks themselves, it's just not worth it with the our little robot friend and Trunks. Goku's combination attacks are great though. They look pretty good.
みんなすまねえ。オラのために。いい加減にしろ。貴様はもう謝っても許さねえぞ。
I'm just going to combine LR Cooler and the Tech Goku, Carnival Goku, because these are two amazing characters, and I don't think you need to hear me tell you that. I guess the two downsides is that we don't get Cooler's, charging through the Kamehameha visual where he just pounds through it and like counterattacks. I think that would have enhanced it, but the water effects look great. The impact looks great. There's a lot of chunkiness to the animations. You really feel like he's just fucking decimating his enemies. I can't wait until they give this character an EZA and he's walloping people with like 80 million damage, additionals. It's gonna be great. Goku, on the other hand, has, oh man, when that 18 key hits and he blows someone out of the stratosphere with his Kamehameha, and it's on the side of the screen, it says like 99 million. That shit's gonna be peak. His active could use some work, but maybe once it hits harder, it'll like feel good to use. Right now it's just okay. The revive is great. This was just a masterclass celebration, not much to say. It was great.
Guess we've got no choice but to try.
Curse it! I can't feel my legs!
Vegeta, can you still fight?
What? What kind of question is that? Damn you!
Even if the odds are against us, every breath in my body will be spent trying!
That's the last time you will underestimate a Saiyan!
Besting me will take all you can muster. Even then, I'll only be resurrected with more strength than before. Put simply, you'll never defeat me. I'll drain every bit of your life force. Splendid. I'll take as much as I please.
The LR duo, Saiyan duo, and the LR Metal Cooler are more of the same. It comes to a point where they're so great that me shining a light on things you know is just going to be redundant. You know these Metal Cooler animations are peak. You know that the Saiyan duo are so cool looking that it's a shame they're so bad. One of the first units people went to the moment that the Trunks, Gohan, and Goku unit were shown to defensively make these characters capable is they went straight to the duo because they're so fun, they're so cool, they were animated so well, and on release they were so bad so no one got to use them. Great animation job by the devs, and yeah, I mean these are some EZAs that need to happen tomorrow, right? Goated.
僕はヘド博士の最高傑作そしてスーパーヒーローだ 私の邪魔をするというのなら受けて立とう私こそがスーパーヒーローだ
「
The Gammas managed to pull off something that is pretty unique in Dokkan. I feel like whenever a character has a counter or an active, you really pay attention to it. I think that their supers themselves are actually the feast for the eyes. They do a great job of showing points of contact, points of impact, and you get a sense that they're really connecting with their opponent. Gamma 1, Gamma 2, their intros are hype, the music is booming, you know, superhero da, like that shit is, I don't know. I don't know if I would put them in goated, just because I feel like these other moments have some real staying power, but I feel like they're about as good as TURs they're about as good as you want your TUR to be. Like every single time, if you could have a Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 TUR, you would always take it. You know, complete solid package, and there's not really anything I would change about them. I feel like they went straight into their most hype moment, which was the core breaker later on with the LR, and that is a unit I would put in goated. But with this being a more lower stakes version of the characters, you know, they don't really hit those high notes, they don't really hit those moments of like great and that's not true. The choreography is so good in these, plus the letter. I'm gonna put them both in goated, actually. Yeah, I've talked myself into it. See, I'm not a superhero hater, you know. I have problems with Beast Gohan's transformation from like contextually, like conceptually and stuff, but I'm not a hater, bro. Put them in goated. Doubling back now actually to talk about the Fizz, Goku, and Gang, because I seem to have them out of order. I'm going to tentatively put this character in pretty good instead of great or goated. I feel like the animations for the super attacks are pretty high quality, pretty, you know, I don't really have any problem with them. It's just that active skill is so flaccid, and without anything else to really cling to the character, you're left with some great visual splendor in the form of the super attacks, but it always ends on that downbeat of just having such an underwhelming active. And when the other characters in the above tiers can really come through in those moments and across the board, if I'm looking at a handful of, you know, super attacks which are similar, because, you know, the joint super attacks are similar between each other typically, and then the only other thing you have is like this flaccid active, like, I don't know, the camera swinging and stuff, the reference to the actual source material is great, but when that beam hits and it's just nothing, it's such a sour taste. Yeah, just pretty good.
全てが変わるこの俺の運命、そして貴様の運命もこれで最後だ。
This is going to be another case of tentatively putting a character in just okay, or pretty good rather, because Tech Bardock is so close. I feel like an amazing intro, one of the best intros in the entire game, pretty comfortably. But once you get to those super attacks and once you get to the cannon, which is just that active skill, feels like it just needs a little something more. The gathering of ki looks great, the actual KO screen looks great, the lead up to the blast and the super attack looks great, but it's one of those characters that feels like they need a touch more to really get over the hump. I think if you're a Bardock fan, you're not mad about this character. You know, you love the intro from the 4 TV movie, and the voice acting is great, the music's great. It's just that he feels like a character that wants to be an LR. He feels like he needs one more popping animation, because right now Bardock, after you see his suite of animations, you're kind of like, that's it? Yeah, just pretty good, sadly.
俺にやらせてくれ。ここらでお遊びはいい加減にしろってとこを見せてやりたい。修行の成果を見せてやる。はあ、決めてやるぜ。早期だ。
This might be a bit controversial, and I promise I'm not just some undercover like Yamcha fan, you know, the Yamchad, but I actually think he goes in great. I think a lot of the colors look great. There's like saturation on beams. They're sort of like off-white, they're baby blue, they're powder blue. The spirit ball landing and the screen going red and blue in the air, and like the spirit ball itself being this grayish white. It's just like this, I don't know. It's it might seem so weird to place this highly, especially when you look at the other inclusions on this list, but it's really how I'm feeling. Yeah, I don't know. There's something about it that speaks to me. The choreography is great. The intro is goofy with the OST, and you know, because you know, you're kind of looking at him like, come on, man, you're Yamcha. Yeah, it delivers. I'm gonna say great.
少しおまけをしておきました。真のやつ、随分おまけしやがったな。ここからが本気の戦いだ。
度は僕の番だ。魔漢光殺法。
And here comes the shining example of why I'm not a hypocrite. Because Beast Gohan, or Least Gohan as they've come to call him, and Orange Piccolo look fucking immaculate. The intro with the rain clearing, the ultimate form going into that chop into the Demon Flash, the special beam cannon from both of them, Orange Piccolo himself, its transformation. The things I don't like about Beast are typically from a writing standpoint where someone just goes LOL potential and I go sure, whatever, I guess. The actual product, the art, the interpretation, the execution, it looks great. These are two units that look amazing. I'm glad they, well, I know Beast Gohan wasn't very good, so it's a little sour now, but when I use that unit, I get really hyped when he pulls the arm back and says, "Get the fuck out of my face," and slaps the ball down. I can't help it. Was the hate overblown? It doesn't really matter. We're just talking about visuals. I think they delivered on the final product, and Superhero is just another example of why Super Broly, Superhero, really nailed down the super package. Goated. And that's my list. I hope it wasn't too painful to get through. I know 2022 is a very blessed year for a lot of Dokkan fans, and I am just an outsider, but overall I loved it. There's only one miss in the bunch, and the problems I have with some of the characters in Pretty Good don't eclipse them being great overall. I can definitely see why people took 2023 and went with the narrative that they had taken a step down in animation quality, but thankfully 2024 has been an amazing year animation wise for Dokkan Battle. If you like the video, subscribe to join the club. We're all gonna make it, and I've been Lone.